Yeah.
Thanks for reaching out about this.
Yeah, you bet. So let's get into it. Listen In is the new album coming out on the 24th. Kind of give me an idea of how this album came about.
Well, so this album is with the same trio that I that recorded the last album live in Red Hook. And at the time, I I recorded a bunch of music. We recorded a bunch of music with the trio, and the original idea was to put it out in two installments, right? And so this, in a way, is kind of the second installment of those sessions with this trio. But because we had the live album out, this one I kind of structured it a little bit differently so that it's in a way a companion album to the first one, to the first trio album, but it's also maybe an extension of that. So I guess the underlying idea with this one was that to kind of create a space, a sonic space where we're hearing tracks like we would, like normal songs, where we play the music and then we start improvising together. But there are also tracks throughout the record where it almost feels like we're listening in on something that's already going on and something that's happening. And I wasn't quite sure of how that would feel, but in the end, once everything was lined up and all the tracks, it kind of added a different dynamic to the whole listening experience. At least so I hope.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of bands out there, a lot of outfits that would love to have some level of follow up with the same players, because
Yeah.
especially in jazz, there's so many interchangeable parts, there's so many different incarnations, the players are playing with different people at regular intervals to have that follow up because there's always extra material, there's always other ideas, there's always a way to refine it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it's the reality nowadays is that you're playing most of the time you're playing with different people, even if
Yeah.
there are some of the same people. Everyone has their own network of people they have a tendency to play more with, but it's always a different outfit. Like you said, it might be one or two people that you know well, but some different people. So to actually, yeah, have the same band and be able to just work on the music and see where that takes us. That's great. It's especially with these two wonderful players. It's always a joy. And so I'm very much looking forward to playing again because we basically haven't played since we put out our live record, just because that's the things just happened that way. So I'm looking forward to getting back together and playing a live show and playing this music with them. And
Yeah,
it's gonna be exciting.
for sure. So, what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Uh, Music. Yeah, I think that's first and foremost because I know this is more for people who already are into jazz, as the big word, whatever that is. But I just want people to get music that they can connect with in some way or another. And I hope that there are different layers that people can connect with. I hope that the tunes are tunes that can be heard just as tunes, like you would hear a song or something like that, where you don't really need to have a deep love or understanding of jazz. And then, but also, open it up to a window into the interaction that happens between musicians, and specifically with this trio, where the idea really has been since the beginning to just get together and see what happens. And because it's mostly all my music, I can allow for that to happen. I'm not trying to control anything. It's whatever version we do of that particular composition that at that moment, that's what it's going to be. And for better or for worse, that's part of the risk of having a that approach, but it's also part of the joy for me. And I know for Jacob and Nathan as well, they're really great partners in that sense as well, where they let's just play and let's discover what we can in the music together. Because as a composer, I write something, but it doesn't mean I know how to play it, as necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm kind of discovering the music as a player, usually at the same time as the players are, so it's so kind of trying to keep that freshness. And so hopefully that also, you know, transpires for the listeners to that sense of discovery and surprise, that we're all trying to surprise ourselves and each other in a in a joyful way, right? Not like it's not, yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
So, last year we talked about the pandemic, how you got through it, especially having a live album because there was such an absence of live music for a while. But now we're living through, I would say, kind of parallel scary times. There's a lot of things that are going on, lots
Yeah.
of tumult, and I think people are going out and seeing music as a level of escape, and you're in a position as a musician to provide that route of giving them live music. Is that something you're cognizant of? Are you thinking about that when you're out and about?
Yes, very much so. I think just in my approach to music in general, and even more so in past times, I'm going to say maybe the past few years or so, I think it's just become more clear to me that that's the way I want to approach music, is as something that can offer a different way of feeling things, or going about your day, and hopefully transcending some of the things that are hard in our everyday life, and really the joy of music, and because it brings the people on stage together. And if you have that openness, I believe it also helps to connect with the audience, and so it's a very special place of connection where no one has to, you don't have to be a believer in any religion or philosophy or this or that. You just have to be there and open to what's happening, right? To the present moment. And I think that any type of music, but I think improvised music even more so, because we kind of put ourselves in that space to really be in the moment as much as we can. It doesn't mean we're just, throwing everything up in the air and seeing where it lands. Of course not, because there's a lot of work and craft that comes into just being able to be in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I really hope that people can get that from music and from live music at this moment. And for one, get that when I go and listen to music, and I really try to approach my performance and my playing, whether it's my music or someone else's music, in that way.
So Listen In will be coming out on October 24th. You're going to have a big show on the 25th?
Exactly, at Bar Bayou here in Brooklyn, which has been it's been a nice venue for my past musical endeavors. I think my last two records, we did our release show there, and a lot of local musicians usually come out to Bar Bayou just on different dates. So it's a nice scene. It's also a very good place. The local community comes in, so it's a nice, good place to present some music. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to get a copy of the album, or are there any other shows after the release?
Not for now. For
Okay.
now, that'll be the only show. I will have copies that day, and
Okay.
then there will be copies on sale as well on through Bandcamp,
Okay.
through the label that's Ad Rope. I don't know. People say it different ways, but it's a kind of tricky name. Ad Ropa. That's how I would say it. But
Yeah,
so it's a
yeah.
great label, and so there will be physical copies will be on sale there. You can download the music as well, and of course it's available to on streaming platforms that people tend to use.
Sure. And I will put those links in the show notes. I'm looking forward
Wonderful.
to profiling this on the show. It's great to catch up with you, to reconnect after last year.
Same.
So best of luck with everything. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe. Thank you.
You bet.